course, the headliner in front of this crowd of nearly 21,000, the most ever at a U.S. gymnastics trials. So many here to see that woman. Simone Biles, 24 years old, 4 golds and a bronze at the Rio Olympics, looking even stronger competitively this year, and minutes away from beginning the final night of trials on vault, where she has redefined the sport. The competition for the women began on Friday, and after the 4 rotations Friday night, Simone Biles is on top. She'll be joined by 3 other women on the U.S. Olympic team. The expectation coming in tonight is that Suni Lee and Jordan Shylys will be 2 of them. But as you see, it's a very tight race at 4, 5, and 6 there. There's also another individual berth that will play out. A lot of pressure and a lot on the line this evening. Hi, everybody. Mike Tirico, welcome inside the Dome at America's Center. A lot of anticipation here after an extra year of waiting. This is the last night of Olympic trials to earn a spot on Team USA in Tokyo. Over the last 3 weekends, we've gone across the country, seen breakout performances in swimming and track, and now one final opportunity for Simone Biles to put an exclamation point on her Olympic preparation. She is a champion, and to take us through the night, some champions in their own right. 1983 NCAA men's basketball champ Terry Gannon with Olympic champions Tim Daggett and Nasty Lucas. Terry.
Mike, thanks for the mention. I appreciate that little bonus here to kick off the night. And what a night. I mean, you guys know what it's all about. You've been in this position. You're trying to realize a dream. Make the Olympic team. Take me through, Nastia, what tonight is all about.
Well, you know, in my opinion, I think that this is the hardest team in the entire world to make, and one of the most exclusive clubs to be part of when you are on that team. Olympic dreams are going to be made tonight, and unfortunately, some are going to be crushed.
Yeah, you know, I mean, basically every single one of these young ladies, when they were 3, 5 years old, they have watched the Olympics happen. They've seen these stars develop, and it is everything to them. But it didn't just happen. They worked so hard and overcame so much to get to this point. It's going to be a celebration of gymnastics.
Tim, you think about how many thousands, hundreds of thousands, whatever it is, women and little girls out there competing in gymnastics in the United States. There'll be 6 names we'll be talking about at the end of tonight, and here's how it breaks down. What is at stake? 4 team spots that will compete in the team event at the Olympics. The top 2 here, they're locks to make that team, but then it comes down to a selection committee for the other 2 spots. The individual spots, Jade Carey has already wrapped one up, and then one more out there to be taken, to be earned tonight. So many names in the mix for that and the other 2 team spots. And at the Olympics, that team final, you'll have 4 members on the team, but 3 of them chosen. And then all 3 of the scores count towards the team total. So even more pressure because all 3 of those count. And when you start thinking about building a team, and jump in here, guys, with these names that we surmise will be there at the end, but then some question marks.
Yeah. Absolutely. So there are question marks, and you look at this on vault and on floor. And where those question marks are, it's Suni Lee, who is exceptional on the knee bars and fantastic on beam, but her 2 weakest events are vault and floor.
Yeah, absolutely. There's no question. I mean, they could win the Olympics with 3 gymnasts. Let's just put that right out there. But if you want to say, where could you get a couple more tenths here and there, that position, there's a lot of people that are in the running for that. Obviously, Michaela Skinner, Jordan Childs, Kayla Dicello, Grace Mccallum, Leanne Wong. There are amazing athletes.
So you're talking about filling those team spots, and at least in part based on your needs, where you may need that 3rd person on floor or on vault, but that then individual spot that is out there. Remember, Jade Carey has already qualified. That was the World Cup apparatus final, so she earned a spot. She came here. If she had finished in the top 2, you say she could take a team spot, but right now that's not realistic. But those other names in the mix for that individual spot, as we get a look at the 5-time medalist at the Rio Olympics, 4 of them gold medals, and yes, the greatest of all time. That's our little bonus. We get to watch Simone Biles tonight. And one of the big reasons that we've got 21,000 people here inside the Dome.
And, you know, these Olympic trials for her, it's really just kind of putting a check mark by this competition, because she is going to go to Tokyo no matter what. And not only go to Tokyo, but she is going to be better than she even was at the Rio Olympics 5 years ago, where, by the way, she won 4 Olympic gold medals there.
Unbelievable. And you know what? The problem with Simone, and this is this is not a problem, obviously.
I was going to say, where are you going with this?
She does the hardest gymnastics in the world, but she will make it look so easy. She is able to fly like nobody's business. It's just been a thrill for me to be around in the time of Simone Biles.
And take a look at this. Speaking of difficult, she unveiled this vault, Yurchenko double pike. Only person in the entire world to do this. She will not be doing it here tonight, but she is saving it for Tokyo, trying to play it just a little bit safe because, of course, it is pretty dangerous.
You guys are Olympic champions. You know, we got 21,000 people in here, all the people at home watching on TV. What do you feel when you get that opportunity to watch someone like Simone Biles? There is no one else like Simone Biles out here. You feel grateful, right? Just that opportunity to watch her?
Yeah, you absolutely feel grateful. And she truly is in a league of her own, and she's competing against herself. And I think that's something that impresses me so much with her. She could have just played it a little bit safe, and it'd be a lot easier for her to be able to go out there on the 4 events and do her routines that she did in Rio, but she wants to be better than she ever was.
Tim, self-inflicted pressure, the type of pressure that she feels tonight?
Well, she's so good at what she does. She probably is manufacturing a little bit of it right now because she's going to feel it in Tokyo, no question.
And just absolutely spectacular, every single thing that she does. And let me just remind you, that was her quote-unquote easier vault. And again, not many people in the world even compete this vault. She does a half on onto the table. Look at the open body position. So what makes Simone so great are obviously so many different things, but she has such a high level of difficulty, but it's also the execution, the form and the technique that she has on every single event.
Yeah, but you know what? Basically, as she was walking back, she was shaking her head, and she's not happy. She's a perfectionist. That was a bigger slide backwards than she wanted to.
Still, 9.4 the execution out of 10. And 15.4 the total for that opening vault. Overall leader after night 1, and she was putting up the top numbers on vault on night 1 as well.
I think you can really see her power even better on this vault right here. This is called an Aminar. Watch her body rise from the table. And you know, she's so amazing. She, no question, she is not happy with those 2 landings.
Laurent and Cecile Landy, her coaches, now new coaches since the Rio Games.
Oh,
well, there you go.
Yeah.
She said it for us.
Yeah.
Not that we were thinking that at all, but it's the landings. That's what she's really been trying to train hard at. And of course, she nails each and every single vault in training, but when there's a little bit more of an adrenaline rush, a little more energy.
Move ahead in time a month. That's the Olympic champion in Tokyo with those 2 vaults, but she'll be way better there and do way harder things. They do 2 vaults because in the event finals, to make it to the finals, you have to do 2 vaults, and they'll take them and average them together. They got to be from what's called different families.
All right, over to one of the stars as well. You expect her to be on the team, Suni Lee, the 18-year-old from St. Paul, Minnesota, who has really emerged and could lock up that second automatic spot.
This is probably her biggest challenge tonight, the vault. She's got a bit of a bum ankle.
Wow. You know, I think that was better than night 1. Had a little more height off the table, more rotation. Just a little bit of a leg separation on that landing, but Tim, as you mentioned, this is probably one of, as we talked about, her weaker events here.
And you know, we say weaker events, but for Team USA, like one of her other weaker events is floor exercise. She's the reigning world silver medalist on floor exercise.
Yeah, and a big reason why the floor and the vault are question marks because of that ankle, the injury, which is better, but is not entirely 100%. Simone Biles, Suni Lee, and Jordan Childs, the top 3 at the U.S. Championships a few weeks ago and on night 1 here in St. Louis. So just to give you a guide as we show you the scores, green is excellent, yellow is safe, and red is below average, and all of that's based on the recent major international meets. How they compare to those around the globe. 9-2 execution at 5.4 difficulty to start with, and then 14-6. And here is Jordan Childs, 20 years of age, from Vancouver, Washington, but training in Spring, Texas, along with Simone Biles these days. And another one expected to be on that team.
And boy, can she explode off of the table. Very similar to Simone. Watch how high she flies right here. Oh, baby. Wow. That was gorgeous.
1 down, 3 to go, and she is well on her way to her first Olympic Games.
Yeah, you know, really everybody knows Simone Biles is going to go to the Olympic Games. This young lady right here has had so many different competitions this year, and she has been just fabulous in every single one of them. I would say that barring an injury, she is a lock along with Suni at this point in time.
And you know, we talked about this pretty much all week, all weekend, both on the men's side, the women's. Really, it's so important peaking at the right time. You know, she has been great all season long, but really throughout each competition, she has just gotten better, more confident, more consistent.
We'll try to listen in as much as possible throughout the night. Yeah, you look at the season, and that number 14.933, but the Winter Cup, the U.S. Classic, the U.S. Championships. Now here, she has been terrific, has had momentum, and has carried it through. How about Kayla Dicello, the 17-year-old from Maryland, did not have a great U.S. Championships, but has been solid here. Comes in 6th place into night 2.
Yeah, and that was very uncharacteristic for her. She's a very consistent athlete. Also does the same vault we saw from Childs. Oh. Yeah, she was like a different athlete at the U.S. Championships. I told her coach right there, Kelly Hill, I was so surprised by seeing her make all those errors, and she said, me too.
You know, coming in to an Olympic year when really you don't have that much competition experience, the amount of pressure and the expectations and everything else that comes along with an Olympic year.
But another thing, you know, she would have been a first-year senior had the Olympics taken place when they were supposed to. You know, all the different athletes, you know, some the postponement hurt. Morgan Hurd, who is not here. For someone like Kayla Dicello, it was a good thing.
Yeah, you think about Morgan Hurd not making the Olympic trial. She's won a world all-around title, and yet that Olympic cycle peaking at the right time. Not only during that individual Olympic year, but during the 4-year time period.
Well, and that's what, you know, that's what we keep saying. It really is the hardest team in the world to make when you are leaving off your world.
So guys, take us through, Nastia, those names maybe in the mix.
Yeah, so taking a look at this, you have vault and floor in the combined scores. So of course at the U.S. Championships, and then on the Olympic trials night 1. Look at those 4 scores. Grace a little bit weaker on both of those events, but really for Leanne Wong and Kayla and Michaela Skinner, just right about equal.
Yeah, it's basically the same exact thing. So it's going to come down to who has the best performance tonight.
On one night of your career, it comes down to one night. So remember, there'll be 6 athletes there, including Jade Carey, who's earned a spot already, and then an individual spot, 4 team spots. Tom Forster, the high performance team coordinator, he leads the way, but it's that selection committee. They'll go behind the door, they'll crunch the numbers because it is empirical these days, and select that team.
Yeah, I definitely don't want to be in his shoes tonight.
But they're going to start with numbers, and they're going to be able to back it up without question.
All right, how about that individual spot? Could be a name like Riley Mccusker, the 19-year-old from New Jersey, who's in Arizona training now. This was a moment ago.
Oh, boy.
Wow.
Oh, that is heartbreaking. So she was going so aggressive there, trying to go exactly to a handstand. Risk and reward.
There she goes. Repeats the skill. And this is probably one of the hardest things to do when you start your bar routine in the first element. You have a fall like that.
Big combination right here. Now down to the low. And back up again. Handled that great. So she has a hurt ankle. And it's really been a problem. It's actually her foot. Has done very few dismounts. This is the only event she's doing today.
Creates a question mark now.
It absolutely does.
That individual spot, Riley Mccusker, a lot of people thought, okay, makes absolute sense to take that athlete in that spot. 13-5-6-6, maybe opening the door for some others. Here in St. Louis, the greatest of all time, along with athletes who in a few hours will experience something that they've never experienced before and will remember the rest of their lives. Truly is the gateway city this week, St. Louis, path to Tokyo. And you can watch us live here on NBC or check this out, NBCOlympics.com, NBC Sports app as well. You can stream all of the individual apparatus, see what's going on in real time out there on the floor, NBCOlympics.com or the NBC Sports app to watch that way. Sam McCulloch saw him in action yesterday. Part of that Olympic team. He'll be going to Tokyo, along with Brody Malone, Shane Wiskus, and Yul Moldauer, and Alec Yoder for the men on the individual spot. So, guys, what do you think? What do you make of what we've seen so far?
Well, it was off to a great start. Unfortunately, that mistake on bars from Riley was not only uncharacteristic, but that is that one event that you really can punch your ticket to the Olympic Games. Unfortunately, she's now going to be sitting on the edge of her seat for the rest of the competition and the selection process.
Yeah, without question.
All right, another name in the mix. I know she's in 10th after night one, but remember the needs of the team and where those are. Leanne Wong, family watching. The 17-year-old from Overland Park, Kansas, about to go. And that senior elite debut back in March of 2019, we saw, and it was one of those names that you went, oh my gosh, Leanne Wong's going to win. It was the American Cup in Greensboro, in the 2018 U.S. Junior all-around champ, and now at this level trying to earn a ticket to Tokyo.
Just gorgeous lines, beautiful extended knees and toes. That was way past the handstand, though, at least 3/10 off.
Again, right on top of the bars, what the judges are looking for. That one was a little short, too.
Very good. Double layout somersault. Oh, boy. And that's unfortunate. You saw that step. It was a 3/10 step. If it's more than a meter, it's 3. Less, it's 1/10 off.
All right, how about Grace Mccallum, 18 years of age from Minnesota, in 5th place after the opening night. She's been on a couple of world championship teams already.
Same vault we've seen. Yurchenko double twist.
Oh, that was great. I think that vault might have been the best that we have seen her do in a very long time. Has struggled with injuries this year. But once again, talking about peaking at the right time, this is exactly where she has been best all year long.
Nice technique. She gets her arms back to the table very quickly, gets off the table fast. That helps her get a little bit higher, and just, you see that, that's about a foot, so that should be only 1/10 of a point on that landing. The judges will find a bunch of different things, though. What they're looking at, see her legs are a little bit apart, feet are a little crossed. Pretty good body position. They're going to say her hips, her chest should have been up a little bit higher on the landing, but overall a very good vault. This is a routine also that Team USA is looking to get a better score than Suni Lee on vault and floor exercise, and Grace is one of those athletes that can do it.
In the mix.
Yes.
For that team spot, and on vault, the number important, 9.366 for execution and 14.766 overall. Go over and get the number for Leanne Wong on uneven bars, 13.8. The other events very important for her the rest of the way here. Night 2 for the women in St. Louis. Skinner, who could be on the verge of making her first Olympic team. With more on her, let's join Andrea Joyce.
Well, Terry, I think it's safe to say that Michaela could certainly be the star of a gymnastics Don't Ever Give Up campaign. Remember, she came in 9th in the all-around at nationals and then had a meet of a lifetime first night of Olympic trials, and she is firmly back in the Olympic conversation. We all remember Michaela's heartbreak when she did not make the team, came so close in 2016, named an alternate instead, went on to a great college career, but then decided in 2019 that she had unfinished business. That comeback, however, has been filled with monumental challenges. First, a painful Achilles injury, then a scary bout with COVID in December, followed by pneumonia that put her in the hospital in January. Fighting to regain her physical stamina, Michaela told us that she felt like she had been hit by a bus after nationals. An incredible rebound, though, here in St. Louis. And when I told Michaela that Nastia said this was the best she had ever seen her, Michaela's eyes welled up with tears, and she said, "It has been a long, long time. I just want this so bad." Terry?
You think about that journey for every athlete, it's different, and for some that success comes right away. For others, I mean, you think about what she's been through in that career at the University of Utah, vault and floor she's very good on. This a moment ago on bars.
Yeah, she said in 2016, it was great to be able to go, but she said it was, being the alternate was very, very hard, and I don't think it can really be explained. While watching, she said she knew she would try again.
Night 1 really was the best meet of her life. Looking for round 2 here. You know, I think more than anything, something that I just admire about her so much is really what Andrea was just talking about. You know, it's about not giving up, being an alternate, your first Olympic go-round, going off to college, truly just doing it for the love of the sport and the goals that she has.
And there were doubts. People said, "What, you're coming back to this level after being in college? It's really unlikely you're going to make the Olympic team." And here she is, perhaps on the verge. We saw her talking a moment ago to the 21-year-old from Phoenix, Jade Carey, who is 14th coming into night 2, but has wrapped up that individual spot. She's earned it. It's hers. One of 2 spots, and a moment ago on uneven bars.
Big release combo for her. Jade has completely transformed her gymnastics on this event. Just a ton of difficulty. She won't be doing the all-around here tonight, still nursing a bit of a ankle problem. I think it's the best routine I've ever seen her do.
A lot of parents in the stands tonight. Her dad was right there. He's her coach. So a front row view of that. 13-7-3-3. You're talking about exclusive clubs. How about one with one member? The GOAT on the slipper. Greatest of all time.
Golden, streaming on Peacock, which will also stream gymnastics coverage live during the Olympics. And one of the athletes featured in that documentary, one of the athletes you'll be hearing from in our Olympics coverage in Tokyo, Team Gold, Beam Silver, Lori Hernandez from 2016. Great to be back with you.
You too.
It is night 2 for the women, and you've been through this pressure 5 years ago of trials and Sunday night. What kind of pressure are the athletes feeling as we're watching them here?
Oh, well, day 2 is terrifying because you just want to make that team. We've noticed some little mistakes on bars here and there. Riley Mccusker did fall in her first turn, but she got back up and made a beautiful routine. We also see that Michaela has dropped into 6th place for now, and bars is not her strongest event, but I wouldn't be surprised if she comes back up after the next few events.
Yeah, let's put up the standings through that now 5 rotations, the 4 from Friday and the 1 from tonight. And you do see that Grace Mccallum and Dicello have moved up a spot. Skinner, who started the night in 4th, is down in 6th. But again, with the first 2 in 4 and 5 on vault, and Skinner on the bars in 6 here in 6th, you're not surprised that that's happened. What do we watch for with the uneven bars the rest of the night?
Oh, I mean, honestly, there can be a lot of little mistakes that happen because of pressure and because of nerves on bars and on beams, so we should definitely be watching out for that. But also, floor and vault seem to be a lot of these girls' strongest events, so we're going to see the scoreboard kind of go on shuffle throughout the night, I think.
Right, and again, we're watching that fourth spot. It's not exactly the numbers, it's just part of the equation, but we'll keep an eye on it. Lori will be with us to help us sort things out and tell us what the athletes are going through throughout the evening. Simone Biles is moving over to those uneven bars that you talked about. We're going to go take our seat, which is right over there. It's the best seat in the house, next to Lori in front of the uneven bars, and Simone when we come back.
Back with a reminder after tonight's final competition, wake up with today and meet the U.S. Women's Olympic Gymnastics team when they sit down exclusively with Hoda in their first interview tomorrow morning, only on Today. You think Hoda will want to talk to Simone?
I would say she probably might want to.
Maybe one question.
Yeah. So to the second rotation of the evening and the sixth rotation overall, with the two nights coming together and those points counting on both nights. Michaela Skinner in sixth right now, lost a little ground in terms of the placement, but remember, as Mike said, she was on bars, so those who were on vault, the higher numbers.
Yes, much higher, actually. And for example, Michaela can get a 15 plus on vaulting, so it's going to tighten up a lot. She really has one super test in this routine, and it comes right here. She does it back with a fold, but she does it in combination. So tricky.
A little off on that first back handspring.
Yes.
Had mistakes on that at the national championships, but not here. See, she seems just a little bit timid, holding back just a little bit, and happens a lot when obviously the nerves are high.
It happens a lot when your dreams could possibly come true. It's just, but you know, being careful on beam is a recipe for disaster. You don't want to do that.
Really just needs to get through this beam routine, and her last two events are her strongest. And really just, unfortunately, little mistakes on almost every single element, so that execution score is going to be lower than night one, but just the dismount left right here.
And gonna do a really difficult one. Full twisting double somersault. We'll see it one time tonight. Oh. And that was okay. She survived, but that wasn't great.
And you heard her say she was off to the side.
So this is so difficult because she does a back handspring in front of this back with a full. Take your cell phone, lay it on the floor. That's how wide that beam is.
Don't think I've ever done that. And here's that dismount. So a round up to a full twisting double back. So really, really difficult. A lot of gymnasts do this element on the floor exercise, but you see that chest down really low. Going to be a big deduction there.
All of this against the backdrop of making the team with what, it's awfully hard to watch, family members, with what she does on floor and vault. Did she get away with this here now?
Well, you know, I think when we go back to that first graphic, when we, at the top of the show, the 2 points that had the question marks, those 2 events were vault and floor. And these are the 2 events where she is really strong. Bars and beam, Team USA pretty much has covered with Simone, Jordan, and Suni if they are able to make that team.
So a so-so number might not really hurt her that much on beam. All right, over to Jordan Shylys, the 20-year-old Vancouver, Washington, on uneven bars just a moment ago.
Has a ton of releases in this routine. Great handstand position. You're looking for that on every skill. That one pretty good. Maybe a 10th off. Transition. Boy, she has just been a rock all year long. She's competed more than anyone.
Wow.
Does it again. Guys, the Cardinals play down the street. Nobody's hitting 1,000 in their lineup. She is for 2021. She is 22 out of 22 in terms of routines.
I believe it's a stem. Some of them have heat as well.
Getting a little help. We'll figure it out during the break. 13-4, the number from Michaela Skinner on beam as we continue night 2 at the Olympic team trials. Second rotation of the night continues here in St. Louis. Leanne Wong, the teenager from Kansas, getting set to go on beam. Take you back to the opening night, Nastia. Here's what happened.
You know, and she has been really great all season in the last few years, really, but unfortunately had 2 major mistakes here on the balance beam.
Yeah, she scored an 11.5. That is a brutal score.
And you know, we talk about this all the time too, but now having to try to put that routine and those 2 mistakes just a few days ago past her and try to focus on this beam routine where the pressure's even higher than it was night 1. As physically demanding as the sport is, it's just as much, if not even more, mentally challenging.
Those were very aggressive right there. Good to see that. There we go. Oh my goodness.
Wow. I don't know how she stayed on.
Yeah, she was way to the left, and then all of a sudden she wasn't. And what she did night 1 is not her typical. She's a great gymnast. Had wanted to combine those 2 elements together. Because she paused too long, she'll lose just a little bit in difficulty score. There you go. Nice, love that. Remember, she had big problem on this. Nowhere near enough rotation. Had to take 3 bounding step forwards. It's really difficult. Round off to a triple twist.
Better than night 1.
Oh, I'd say a lot better, actually. You know, I mean, it's like her coach, Al Fong, longtime gymnastics coach in the United States. Her teammate, Aker. That's pretty darn good.
Get the number in a moment. Meanwhile, Kayla Dicello, one of those names right there in the mix for the team in 5th place after 5 rotations, and her effort a moment ago on uneven bars. Remember, she opened up on vault, moved up in the standings.
Took those 2 weeks after the national championships to really get back, reshift her focus. Had so many mistakes in Fort Worth at championships. Oh.
And I have seen her miss releases here, but I have not seen her miss that one here or in Fort Worth.
So that was the open to her routine on uneven bars, and eventually 12.8 the number.
But remember, bars and beam are not the critical events for someone like a Kayla Dicello. It's the floor and the vault where she could help Team USA get a better team score.
You know, Grace Mccallum also definitely in that mix in 4th place after the opening rotation here tonight.
Looks like a different gymnast than what she was in Fort Worth. Big combo right here, very nice. Little shy of the handstand there, that'll be a 10th. Another release.
A little short on that handstand.
Step backwards, you know, it can be a little bit better. That last handstand was probably the biggest deduction in the exercise. Coach Sarah Jancy, she has been here in the last quad. She coached Maggie Nichols, 2015 World Team member and gold medalist. And
Grace recently graduating from high school, eventually going to go to the University of Utah. There's the number for Leanne Wong, and even 14 on balance beam. Patriotic shades on. Back to check out the number for Grace Mccallum on even bars, and even 14, that execution 8.2.
better than night one.
Yep. Trying to solidify a spot, and Suni Lee should have one of those spots. The two-time U.S. all-around silver medalist.
Buckle up. This is wild.
So in action here tonight. For more on her and her journey, let's join Andrea.
Terry, when you think about everything that Suni Lee has been through the past couple of years, her composure as a competitor is really quite remarkable. Her dad's accident, battling back from a foot injury, losing a beloved aunt and uncle to COVID, and she will tell you that there is absolutely no way that she would be here tonight without the support of her family, especially her dad, John. And they did once again make the trip across the country from Minnesota, an 8-hour drive, just to be here to support her. It's worth noting that before a fall from a ladder left him paralyzed in 2019, John was the constant presence at Suni's meets while her mom was at home with her siblings. Suni says that having him back at nationals after a 3-year absence was an amazing gift. She told me that there's definitely more pressure at trials, but her dad keeps her grounded, and his pep talks really give her a jolt of energy. And I talked to John on the way into the arena, and he said the overwhelming feeling from the family is simply excitement. Terry, they've got a lot of confidence in their girl.
Such positive reinforcement throughout, too, and she's talked about it, how important her family has been and their relationship with her dad. And she's out there competing. And she was warming up, and I know you were excited already.
Well, no matter what time it is that Suni gets on the bar, it's always exciting. But yeah, of course, that was the warm-up. So an athlete always gets about 30 seconds on the apparatus before it is competition time. Which was why she didn't finish her routine, or if you have a mistake, it's obviously okay. But
it is a special routine, though.
It really is.
So stay tuned for that. All right, how about Jade Carey? Yeah, just another reminder for people maybe just watching tonight for the first time, that individual spot that Jade Carey wrapped up, it was the World Apparatus Series around the globe. She took that route, wrapped up a spot for herself. There's another individual spot, and then the 4 team spots where they actually compete as a team in the team final in the Olympics.
So she will not be part of the team competition. Everything else, all-around finals, individual event finals, she'll be representing USA, but just not in the team competition.
So a rule that, of course, the Federation of International Gymnastics implemented this Olympic cycle. Just a little wobble there, but this Olympic cycle, and I don't know about you, Tim, but I certainly have not quite been a fan of the selection procedures for it.
No.
Being able to get that spot, it's been confusing. It's been challenging for all of the athletes.
They're going back. They hadn't even gotten to the Olympics yet, and they've already decided that it'll be a 5-person team for both the men and the women in Paris 2024.
Of course, not to take away from what Jade has done, such an accomplishment to really be the only one here that is already on that Olympic, I guess not team, but is going to be an Olympian. Just the dismount.
Very nice.
Really was always so strong on vault and floor, and bars and beam were not always her 2 strongest events, but has really taken the last year and a half or so to focus on those to be able to compete in the all-around at the Olympics.
Yeah, she said, you know, the postponement, the extra year has been an advantage for me. I've been able to really improve balance beam and unevens.
Saw the high five from her dad, Brian, her coach, and now Shylys Jones, the 18-year-old from Westerville, Ohio, a moment ago over on balance beam.
And I'll tell you what, Shylys is an absolutely stunning gymnast. So powerful, beautiful lines, all of the qualities. Look at this right here. And her first big acrobatic element, Arabian front. Oh, hold on with those toes. This is a big pass right here. 2 back handsprings into. Oh, she actually changed it up. A great routine. Her gymnastics is phenomenal. She does struggle with consistency. Not on this one. Love seeing it. Love it.
12th place at the U.S. Championships a few weeks ago, entering tonight. Night 2, she was in 8th, 13.3, the number for Shylys Jones. Saw that effort from Jade Carey on beam, 13.433. Yeah, there's not the same tension on her face as many of the other gymnasts.
Yeah. It's the Olympic trials in name only for Jade.
All right, over 2 uneven bars, and it is Simone Biles. That focus.
And remember, she didn't, for Simone, she wasn't as great as she can be on her first event. And usually,
one part at a time in the first part, and we go down.
Usually when she does not live up to her own standards, she can come roaring back.
Ron and Nellie, her parents, been so important in so many ways. We now have that gym down in Texas too, and great gymnasts who train there and well represented here at the Olympic trials too, a number of them. You heard that last minute little instruction from her coach. Normally, what would you get from your coach right now?
Well, you know, it's really interesting because so many athletes prefer different things, and that's what really makes a great coach, is learning your athlete, understanding what they need. Sometimes you need total silence. You need to be able to take a moment, visualize your routine, while others, as you can see, Laurent constantly talking through every little last-minute detail that she needs to remember. The coach is not allowed to talk while they are on the apparatus during the competition.
Oh boy, and that does not happen. Big straddle of her legs. She kind of was a little short on the first cast to Hansen. That was great though. And now down to the low.
Back on track.
Very difficult dismount. Double twisting double.
Similar look on her face as we saw after the vault.
Yeah.
In reaction.
Right before she went up on the uneven bars, you heard Laurent say, "Don't rush, be patient."
It's okay, it's okay. Yeah, that's all that matters. That one? Yeah. Let's see that one. Good girl,
Fight.
I want to die. That's a little over the top, Simone. You're still the best gymnast in the world, even when you have things like that happen.
High standards.
Yes, she absolutely does. But right there, that was the problem. She was a little short before she did this skill, which is called a Weiler. Great fight, great mental composure there. So it didn't turn into a disaster. See, she's a little under that handstand and has to pause, and it threw her timing off.
But not many gymnasts would ever be able to do that. The strength that she has in order to muscle through that skill right there is just so incredible. Pretty much every single other gymnast would have most likely fallen off the bar, had to start over. Yes, she got deduction, but she did not fall off the bar. Extremely difficult dismount, double twisting, double back. And you can just see it on her face.
Yep. And again, she's competing against herself at this point and her potential on any given night, because there's no one even close.
Can you touch this side just in case? Good. Okay.
And you know, you also wonder what it must be like to coach Simone Biles. There's nobody at that level.
Intimidating.
Probably.
Yeah, absolutely.
But you know, the trust that she has had in her coaches and vice versa, I mean, this is the reason that she's performing these skills here and being better than she was in Rio. You know, she is doing skills that have never been done before, and she doesn't even need to do that. She doesn't need that level of difficulty in order to win the Olympic Games again.
You see the number 13.833, so in yellow, we're used to seeing green for anything that Simone Biles does in terms of our indicator there. But you're right, they have many of those skills they have suggested, and at first she had said, what, are you crazy? No way, I can't do that. And eventually she does in competition. How about this routine right now for Suni Lee?
I believe this is the hardest bar routine in the world. When we saw that warm-up a little bit ago, she actually didn't do one of her main connections. She's a maestro on this event, but I tell you, this routine is so tricky.
She not only flies so high like this skill right here, look at that, but the connections. Oh, and she missed that one right there. So no deduction, but we'll lose bonus points. Everything is normally done back to back to back.
There's another set of releases in a row, back up to the high bar. And
one more right here.
That was a good choice. I tell you, her not going for that first one, it didn't look like she was in the right position. Full twisting double.
And you know, that was good. Night one, so much better because she obviously connected those elements that we were talking about. Her difficulty score was a lot greater than it's going to be here. But that's putting another check mark by it. You know, of course not.
That was good.
They're happy about that, obviously, staying on the bar. But look at this, the height, the hips, the open position. Right back down to the low bar, and this is, you see her toes so close to that bar. She was supposed to put her toes on the bar and then immediately go back up to the high bar.
Got back on track like she always does. The athletes do an extra swing like this. It's called a giant to generate more speed, and that can turn into more height, more power, and a better landing.
Wasn't able to do what she did on night one, but when she is, Olympic gold medal potential, right?
Oh, absolutely, without a doubt.
On that particular apparatus. So Suni Lee, rotation 2 complete on night 2 here at the Olympic team trials.
We're back here in St. Louis, the U.S. Olympic Gymnastics trials. Last night, Suni Lee, her score on the uneven bars, 14.9. That is the best of all the competitors on the uneven bars thus far tonight, and everyone has been through the uneven bars. So Suni Lee remains in second behind Simone Biles, who maintains her lead in the competition. Even though she was not satisfied with her performance on the uneven bars, her score was the 4th best of all the competitors. As you see, it remains tight, 4, 5, and 6. We continue to watch as those final spots will be decided over the next hour or so. As we have been saying throughout, Simone Biles certainly on her way to Tokyo, and in many ways even stronger competitively than when she entered the Rio Games 5 years ago. In those 5 years, Biles, now age 24, has developed and strengthened her presence in the sport, using her voice to speak out on issues important to her. It is one of several examples of athletes using their platform more than ever. Take you to the track and field trials in Oregon. St. Louis-born hammer thrower Gwendolyn Berry made Team USA last night. There was some confusion when the anthem was played with her performance there and what she was doing. We should note afterwards, Berry told our Lewis Johnson, this year has been very tough on her. She considered quitting the sport, but has continued on in part to spotlight what she calls a bigger purpose, including issues facing Black Americans, a cause she has demonstrated for in the past. While it remains to be seen how the International Olympic Committee will react to any similar demonstrations on the medal stand in Tokyo, the U.S. OPC has permitted what it has termed respectful demonstrations throughout these Olympic trials and has said it supports athlete expression. Speaking of athletes, this reminder, the track and field trials pushed back a bit because of the oppressive heat in Eugene, Oregon, will conclude tonight at 11:30 Eastern and Central Time, 10:30 on NBC-SN. It's been postponed because the temperatures reaching close to 110 degrees. We're back here in St. Louis for the final two rotations at the gymnastics trial as we continue with 21,000 on hand here in the Dome.
Do I have to remind you? I will, either way. Yep, the Olympics begin July 23rd, live from Tokyo on NBC, and Simone Biles will be there. So will we, watching the gymnastics, and who's going to join Simone? We find out tonight here in St. Louis. 3 other team spots available. Jade Carey's got an individual spot and 1 other individual spot out there to be earned as we take you out to the floor now, and Shylys Jones ready to go.
She said about the postponement, it was heartbreaking for her. I was so mentally and physically ready. I didn't know how to feel because it was out of my hands. Everything about this floor routine is stunning.
Out of bounds.
Looked like just 1 foot went over the line. That's a 1/10 of a point. I don't believe both did. That would be 3/10.
Beautiful. Gorgeous routine, difficult, and also just the flexibility and the artistry that she showed. That opening tumbling pass, you know, we always talk about going out of bounds. Not that big of a deal, of course. It's a deduction. But as you mentioned, Tim, it's 1/10 if you go out with 1 foot only. So let's take a look. Let's see where she lands. So
That's
toes
in.
On the line.
Oh, no, they're both out, but I don't know if the judges will be able to see that. So 3/10 if they did.
But once again, in the grand scheme of things, 3/10 is 1/10 or 3/10 is really not a huge deal in the sense of a fall being an entire point.
The thing I love about that routine, though, it's got amazing tumbling, and the leaps are just, I mean, gigantic. She just jumps in the air, gets huge split, Amazing routine.
Floor routine dedicated to her dad, has been dealing with health issues. This is the start of rotation 3. However, a key routine took place back in rotation number 2, and it's Kara Aker, the 18-year-old from Green Valley, Missouri, on beam. This is where she could make the Olympics. Individual spot.
Oh my goodness. And that's not a little deduction. That, you know, a lot of swings of the arms.
You know what Kara's normally so good at on this apparatus in particular, everything just flows from one element into a dance move, into a leap, a jump. Gorgeous.
Yeah, that was great. You know, really with Riley Mccusker falling on bars, it kind of opens things up potentially for Kara. She's long been known as someone who is certainly capable of getting it done on the international stage. She's a Pan Am champion on this event. 2018 World Championships in qualifying, she was second on the event to Simone Biles, had a fall in the final.
Just the dismount. There's a tumbling combination right here. Round off. Back handspring, 2.5 twist.
Oh, that was awesome. That was awesome, but at the top of that routine, you see that 14.566. You know, they're going to want to see a number that's close to 15 to be a factor in winning a medal at the Olympic Games.
Shaky start, good finish, but we'll see. We'll have to wait and see how that factors in overall in the selection committee at the end of the night. Shylys Jones, 13.533.
And so you see that penalty is only 1/10 deduction, so she got a little lucky.
Yeah, Shylys, we were wrong. We were wrong. We were dissing you.
We agree with the judges this time.
First look at Emily Lee, the 18-year-old from Los Gatos, California, San Jose area. That's where she was born, and her effort here on balance beam.
Got her start because her dad found a coupon for a free class in the newspaper, and the rest was history. That cost him a little more than that free class.
Yes.
Oh, that was fabulous. 3 elements in a row.
Probably one of my favorite combinations. Each element equally as difficult just on its own. So combining the 3, you have to be so precise.
Good fight there. And she does all of these elements
very slowly.
Yes.
Apparently. Little hiccup there with the video. And eventually 13.566. So we apologize for that, but 7.566 for execution. Go back to what you were talking about, though. So many athletes, gymnasts you talk to or read their bios, they got their start because when they were young kids, they had so much energy doing somersaults, jumping off couches. The parents say, you know, we got to place this somewhere.
It becomes a little dangerous when you're doing it in your living room.
Exactly.
But I would say that every single one of us that ended up in the sport of gymnastics, we did that. We did that on ballparks. We did it in the living room. We did it in the backyard.
I could see you doing that.
Yeah.
The monkey bars
Absolutely.
at recess.
Yeah, absolutely.
All right, how about Grace Mccallum? What an evening. How important this is now. Her effort on beam.
Very calm. Had a 13.866 on this event in day 1. But at the U.S. Championships had a 14.2 both days, which is a big number.
was supposed to connect those three elements.
Yeah.
Once again, all of these connections, so she's not necessarily losing deduction by not connecting it, unless, of course, she has a wobble, but she will lose in the difficulty.
Oh, boy. But remember, once again, for that fourth spot, it is not going to be up to balance beam and bars. They're really going to be keying in on floor and vaulting. Nice landing. It was just okay for her. She can actually be much better.
Her final rotation will be on floor, so that will be a big routine coming up. 13-8. So Simone Biles still leads the way, and she'll be on balance beam as we continue from the U.S. Olympic team trials here in St. Louis. Those top three spots pretty much how they were going into tonight, but that fourth team spot very open, and the individual spot. So a key routine coming up for Leanne Wong. Guys, again, just to remind people going into the night how we had it.
Yeah, no, absolutely. And you see the question marks on both vaulting and floor. That's where Suni Lee could compete and the Team USA would still win. But those two events are areas where if they choose the right person, they can add on to what Team USA scores.
And this is how close it was coming in.
Oh, I mean, look at those total scores. So we combined the championship scores, which were a few weeks ago, just on vault and floor, and then, of course, night one of the Olympic trials. I mean, it is essentially right about the same. Grace, of course, a little bit lower there. But you know what? It's also a lot about consistency and being that leader of a team and trying to be a team.
Routine for Leanne Wong.
Remember, floor and vault, the two areas, the two events where they could use someone in that fourth spot. And so that number key, you still have Michaela Skinner coming up in this rotation on floor. But now over to balance beam and Simone Biles.
See a lot of the gymnasts start with this element right here, a wolf turn.
She had a little problem night one. Nobody spins faster than her on that. And when you look at it, do you think maybe you would slow down? I can't believe how fast she goes on it.
She has just complete control of every skill. First test here, 3 elements in a row.
And that's a champion right there because she was off, but she didn't even have an arm wave for the judges to say, oh, she's off balance. They can't see that because they're judging. That's shocking.
Shocking
Absolutely.
for sure, but you know, it just kind of humanizes her a little bit to know that even the very best in the world sometimes have mistakes.
Don't panic, folks at home. It's not a problem. Simone Biles will be in Tokyo without any problem at all. Don't know what she's going to do for the dismount.
Just a full twisting double back, capable of doing more. Sometimes not saying anything says it all.
Yeah, pretty sure she doesn't want to talk about it, that's for sure. No one is tougher on Simone than Simone. But this is a great example. And you mentioned this earlier. Laurent is not trying to force any conversation. He's giving her the space that she needs. A less confident coach, maybe less experienced, might be saying, it's okay, it's fine. It's Simone Biles. It's not fine for her. He knows that. She knows that.
Silence spoke the loudest there.
So again, was just from the takeoff of that, when we're watching down the angle of the beam, she doesn't seem too off.
No,
but
yeah.
when she lands, it's
yeah.
her foot, I guess, and her shoulders. And, you know, this happens a lot in training with a lot of different athletes. I'm sure not really Simone very often.
Guys, this is the night that athletes have. There are off nights, but it's just shocking to see from her because we're just used to seeing her do everything she sets out to do.
Let's look closely here again. She does dip it a little bit to one side, but you know what? For me, I don't think this is a problem at all. Sam Mccusker watching on. He can't believe it. Either can we, either can she. But, you know, it might be not such a bad thing for Simone Biles, you know, to maybe get a mistake out of the way. I know she doesn't.
Still in green, 13-7, guys.
Well, and it's because you see that difficulty score of that 6.5. I mean, everything that she does is so difficult. Of course, the execution, 7.2 out of a 10.0, a point off for that fall. And she's disappointed in herself. You know, she doesn't want to go into the Olympic Games with that beam routine being the last time that she competed. But again, you know, it really, truly is no big deal. She will still end these trials on top of the leaderboard.
All right, over to floor right now. How big is this routine coming up from Michaela Skinner?
As big as it comes. The next two events are Michaela Skinner's Olympic trials. Floor exercise, and then she'll go to vault, the two weaker events on Team USA. And she can deliver.
24 years of age. Already been to college, competed there for the University of Utah. NCAA all-around runner-up twice, and an NCAA record with a streak of 161 straight routines hit. But this is the moment. This is the stage right now.
Just tons of difficulty, huge acrobatic elements. First one is a double layout with 2 twists. She does struggle at times with staying in bounds, so that's a key thing, and it can add up quickly. see that shuffle back, and I believe both of her feet were out of bounds, so she'll lose for the steps and also 3/10.
You know, it looked like she didn't go out of bounds there, possibly just stepping on the line. I was watching the line judge.
Yeah, the line is in gymnastics.
And by line judge, yes, that means there's a judge that literally just watches every single time they land in the corner. So here's that opening tumbling pass, 2 flips, 2 twists. In a laid out position, you see her pike down a little bit, and yeah, her heels are definitely out.
Both of them are out for sure. And she took a little slide, then a step, and looked like she took another step.
Well, they missed one tonight.
Yeah, they did.
So we'll see. Those moments when you're waiting for that number, and we'll get back there in a moment. But over to the balance beam now, and Jordan Childs just about ready, solidly in third. So one of those spots. Now, remember the top 2, as her parents watch, and Team Chick, that's her nickname. But the top 2 spots in the all-around at the end of the night, they're absolute locks. So she still has a chance to get one of those.
I thought her mom was like yours, Nasty, and couldn't watch beam in competitions, but
not just beam, but everything. He has just been so confident, as we mentioned, throughout the whole season.
Really nice start. Probably too much of a hesitation from the aerial into the leap to get a connection there, but
you know, obviously mistakes sometimes happen, but you can really tell how the athlete is feeling from the very first skill.
That's true. Yep. And you don't see jitters right now. You see confidence and patience.
And not holding back. Capable of doing the same dismount that Simone just did, but from a round off, full twisting.
Yeah, she's going to do it for sure. This is not easy at all. She's a rock star.
It didn't look easy.
Very good. Very good. All we need. All we need. Good job. Thank you.
23 for 23 in terms of routines hit this season. And guess who she's named after? Michael Jordan, number 23. Got one more to go, though. Going to surpass that, maybe.
So here's that dismount. So you see a round off and a double backflip with a full twist. So difficult. As I mentioned earlier, a lot of people do this skill on the floor just about a stick. So chest was just a tiny bit low on the landing. Looks a little bit lower, obviously, when you slow it down. There you go, Mom and Dad.
What a transformation since going to World Champions Center. When she got there, Cecile Landy said that she had so little confidence, didn't believe in herself at all. They were able to get her to buy into the system. She calls the Landys, both Laurent and Cecile, the dopest people she's ever met.
Give her credit too, though. You go back a couple of years, a silver medal at the U.S. Championships was passed over in terms of the World Championships. Thought the sport had passed her by, didn't want her anymore. Had to believe in herself again after an 11th place finish at the 2018 U.S. Championships, and here she is on the verge of going to the Olympics.
One routine away.
All right, the number for Michaela Skinner, they're breaking down the numbers there, 13.5.
So yeah, I'll warm up first. Okay.
Not as good as she could have gotten, 13.866, night one.
But you see that those penalties, 3/10 off right there for stepping out of bounds on that opening tumbling pass.
Yeah, so they did catch the 2 out of bounds. Suni Lee, that fight for the second spot and the second lock with Jordan Childs a moment ago on balance beam.
That wolf turn again, and she does a second one. They're able to do 2 of those elements as long as they aren't the same number of rotations.
That was great. Wow, this is tremendous for her. She said, because of the injuries, I feel like people kind of are doubting me. Oh, gorgeous.
No need to doubt anymore. Double full.
I hope you like long flights.
Direct flight to Tokyo, 14.733. She is ahead of Jordan Childs, overall 13.9. Don't get me wrong, they're both going.
Oh yeah, absolutely.
But Suni Lee may not have to wait as the tears flow for Simone Biles. One more rotation left.
At the U.S. Olympic Gymnastics trials in St. Louis, you see Simone Biles leading. That's the addition of Friday's 4 rotations and 3 so far. If it was just tonight alone, she would be in 3rd position. That is rare. Lori Hernandez, gold and silver medalist from 2016, with us again. Lori, we never see Simone make mistakes, and we've seen it, and we've seen her emotions tonight. What do you see?
Yeah, honestly, we have to remember that even though she does incredible things, she is a human being and things happen. We can tell that she took it to heart. She looked a little choked up in the back. Also, she was getting her ankle taped afterwards, so nothing to cause alarm for, but definitely keep an eye out for that for floor next, but I'm sure she's going to kill it.
You mentioned she's on floor to wrap it up. That's really the last time under the lights with a lot of people watching until Tokyo. How important is this final exercise for her?
I mean, I honestly, you know, even with the B mistake, she's still a lock in my eyes, and I'm sure to the rest of the globe, but floor is important, just I think for her own well-being to know that, okay, I made a mistake, but I'm going to go and I'm going to show up anyways, and, you know, I think everybody's excited to see that.
There's pressure, and it's rare to see her show some of that pressure is real.
Yeah.
And we've seen that so far. We'll see what happens. It's also a very big floor exercise to start this final rotation in terms of figuring out the team that will go to Tokyo along with Simone Biles. That's coming up as we continue on this final night of the Olympic trials from St. Louis.
So, down to the final rotation. Grace Mccallum, one of those names in the mix for that 4th and final team spot.
Oh boy. Oh boy. That is a gigantic deduction. Those are 3/10 steps and both feet out of bounds. Close to a point off right there.
exactly the routine that she wanted to end her Olympic trials with.
Oh, yeah, that was disappointing. You know, she has been battling so many different things, had a boxer's fracture in her hand, a plate and 7 screws inserted, was really behind in preparation time. She told us that she definitely was much better between U.S. championships and now, but here's this double twisting, double somersault, and you know what? Athletes love to have extra juice for floor, but that is so much extra juice. Both feet out.
Way out.
Yeah.
You think about those names in the mix for the team spot. Grace Mccallum on floor there. Still have Kayla Dicello on floor, and then over on vault, Leanne Wong and Michaela Skinner.
And you know, Terry, they don't specify how they're going to look at the USA's and the Olympic trials, but they're certainly going to have the inclination to think that the trials are more important because they're closer to the games.
But they both count. The numbers go into all those computer formats and files that they put together. We'll see how big this is now for Michaela Skinner on vault.
She can get 15 plus. She needs probably the vault of her life right here.
Just about to say one of the most important vaults of her life right here.
I believe she's going to do the Chang first. Has a 16-0 maximum score. And it was very good. No question. The only thing she could have done better was put both feet down and don't move them. That was a 3/10 step for sure, but Nasi, what did you think? I thought the body position was pretty good.
I thought it was great. You know, I think that's something that she does so well on this event right here. So a half onto the vault, and you see just a tiny bit of form right off of the table. Tiny bit of a pike down in that step, of course, but really has made significant improvements on this vault over the last few years. In the past, really almost didn't complete that half turn. Once again, that pike down just a little bit.
Yeah.
The judges are looking for the complete open.
And the irony, if she had kept that open, she would have been in a better position to stick it. Big number, though.
Now, the final thing that Michaela Skinner will do tonight that she can control, then it is weight.
This is an Aminar, same as we saw from Simone Biles.
Wow. You know what? No matter what happens with the selection process, the emotion says it all.
Spent your entire career, your entire life to get to this night.
Good job, my friend. Awesome. Awesome. Good job.
And now it's a waiting game.
Awesome. So awesome.
Sorry.
How many times, Nastia, do you go to bed at night and you lay there and you envision this moment and that time when you make an Olympic team? Did she do enough?
Just sad. Last week.
Sister, husband, everybody with tears up there.
Well, it was a wonderful journey. And it wasn't easy for Michaela Skinner. She has overcome so many different things.
And now it is up to the other athletes still to come, and eventually that selection committee behind closed doors. 15-2, the number.
I'm so proud of you.
Got the crowd going before those vaults. This final rotation wanted them up loud here inside the dome. They were. Now we wait to see.
This telecast is presented by authority of the United States Olympic and Paralympic Committee and may not be reproduced or retransmitted in any form without the express written consent of the United States Olympic and Paralympic Committee.
Beautiful scene along the Mississippi in the Gateway Arch here in St. Louis. This is where you earn your ticket to Tokyo if you are one of the top gymnasts in the U.S. It's all on the line tonight in this final rotation. Go back to that number for Grace Mccallum on floor, 13.5, guys.
Yeah, it's not a bad number, and a 13.8 would have been so much better if she had just been able to hang in bounds.
So Simone Biles, it's been that rare night when Simone Biles, the greatest ever, has not brought her A game to this stage. But she's got one event left on floor.
Yeah, you know, she didn't win the gold on beam in Rio, had to settle for silver because she grabbed the beam, but I cannot remember the last time I saw her come off the beam.
This is going to be a huge first. Opening tumbling pass. It's called the Biles. Triple twisting, double back. Here it goes.
Spectacular, one step, 1/10 out of bounds. Makes that look too easy, way too easy.
And a second Biles right here.
Was supposed to connect into a leap, so she'll lose a little bit there, and also another 10th out of bounds. Without a doubt, the greatest of all time, even with a bad day. But she is absolutely going to Tokyo. And for those of you that are worried, is she not as dominant? Hey, no worry at all.
They're not worried. Everybody on their feet inside the dome in appreciation.
Standing ovation. The impact that she makes here out on the floor is just tremendous.
Thank you. Hey, girl. Good job. Thank you.
You didn't need our help. You had this.
Are you first and second? It is. That was hard. Oh, great. You told me this routine is hard? Yeah. I'm sorry, but that was hard.
She'll be the first to tell you she wasn't at her best tonight for much of the night, but even less than her best, it's pretty special to watch.
Absolutely. She's so great that even with a fall off balance beam in Tokyo, she's standing on the top rung. Unbelievable. No other female athlete has ever done this. There's only a handful of men. That is 2 flips with 3 twists. And oh, is that hard.
Here's that second tumbling pass. A double layout with a half turn, and the reason why, of course, both of these called the bile, so you see her step out of bounds there, no big deal, but she was the first athlete to perform both of those elements at a World Championships or an Olympic Games, and that is how you get an element named after you in the code of points. But that ending pass right there, a lot of people can't even do at the beginning of their floor routine, and she's ending her routine with a double twisting double back.
Tears, hand on heart.
The reason she's got a green is because it's Simone Biles, and she's got a 6.6 difficulty score.
Don't cry. Just whoop. Don't cry. I know.
Very cool moment. Everybody on their feet here in appreciation for what she's done, who she is, and what she's going to do at the Olympics. Suni Lee out there on floor now.
Don't forget to add that frequent flyer number because you are Tokyo bound, Suni Lee.
I like that. That was much better.
There you go. So we'll see that second spot. Remember, it's a lock. Whoever gets there, Suni Lee or Jordan Shylys. They're going either way. We still have Leanne Wong to go on vault and Kayla Dicello on floor. That fourth spot on the U.S. Olympic team. At stake here tonight in St. Louis. Simone Biles leading the way. Ended up on floor here tonight. Last event for her in these Olympic team trials. Looking ahead toward Tokyo. Okay, Suni Lee 13.933, trying to wrap up that second spot.
Yeah, that's a big number.
That should do it.
Yes, I would say so.
And remember, the top two spots are automatic locks. Now, Jordan Shylys is going to go to the Olympics. Needs better than 15.4 change here to take that second spot. And overall, guys, it's only one night, but Suni Lee had a higher number tonight than Simone Biles.
Yeah, that's unthinkable. You got to finish a routine here, Jordan. Come on now. Very emotional, obviously. You can't, Nasi, you really can't even sum it up, right? You can't even say how important it is.
There's no feelings really to describe exactly the amount of pressure that she's feeling right now, that she's just putting on herself to finish this competition the best possible way that she can and lock a spot on the Olympic team. Jordan, do the same thing that you always do every single day. place she gets. Jordan, don't worry. You are on your way to Tokyo and your very first Olympic Games.
Get over here.
Oh, Zoe.
Zoe,
Yeah.
get out of here. Zoe, leave her alone now. Okay, good job. Very good. That's what you needed all the time, you know. All the time. Very good.
Just a couple of years removed from thinking about quitting the sport, thinking the sport didn't want her. It had passed her by. And here she is wrapping up a spot at the Olympic Games.
So glad you saw it through. What a wonderful athlete.
So nice.
Simone Biles, Suni Lee, Jordan Childs, those three. You saw that embrace from Simone. And look, every athlete's got to put in the work. Do it yourself. It comes down to you. But Simone has been so instrumental in leadership, in bringing her down to Texas to train. The atmosphere there in the gym, conducive to getting to this moment right now. Pretty cool. So 14-2-3-3 and into third place behind Suni Lee overall, with Simone Biles at the top. All right, Kayla Dicello now. How important is this floor routine?
Well, it's really important because once again, they're still looking for that perfect person that brings the most potential team score on floor exercise and vaulting. She had a very nice start on vault. She hasn't had a great competition beyond that, but this is the one that matters most.
Almost the same exact thing that we saw from Grace do a little bit earlier in the rotation.
Both feet out, 3/10 plus the step.
And that was a great finish, but you know that she is just going back to that routine earlier this competition. But as you mentioned, Tim, you know, that is not exactly where...
on that first pass, huh? Lots of energy. I love energy. Good job. I'm proud of you. Now we wait. Okay? It was great efforts today.
It's not exactly where she needed to excel on the uneven bars. It was really about vault and floor. Unfortunately, that first tumbling pass. This is probably going to be the hardest moment now. The competition finishing
All right,
and just waiting.
We started the night talking about those names in the mix for the 4th team spot. Kayla Dicello, Grace Mccallum, Michaela Skinner, and Leanne Wong. Comes down to the final rotation and everything on the line with the vault.
That was fabulous. Just about as good as she can do.
So the number 14.7, that execution 19.3. How do you split them? I mean, really?
Nice shades.
Just crunching the numbers here, which they're going to do behind closed doors. The selection committee over the 2 nights of trials on vault and floor. Skinner is ahead of Leanne Wong by about 0.2 of a point. It could come down to that. We'll see. Kayla Dicello, 13.5 for the effort on floor.
Yeah, good, but it could have been better. She needed it to be a little better.
All right, so closing out this final rotation, and Emily Lee set to go on floor. Excuse me, Malabuyo on floor. We got Emma Malabuyo and Emily Lee still to come to close out this rotation. Malabuyo in 8th after the 7th rotation. 18-year-old from California.
Gorgeous routine. A great Olympic trials. Was 4th at the U.S. Gymnastics Championships a few weeks ago. Has dealt with so many obstacles, injury after injury. Yeah, one extra year with the amount of work that they put in. I mean, they're working out 40 hours a week. Every day, you know, they're not taking days off. They don't go on family vacations.
Good job, thanks.
You know, no matter if you've competed at the Olympic trials or not, we will never truly understand what all of these athletes have gone through in this last year.
It's a great point because, I mean, it doesn't compare. We're talking sports here and adversity in sports, not life. So many people dealt with such tragedy over the past year. But in terms of sports, to have to do it again for an entire year, and it comes down to this night, the final athlete out there, Emily Lee.
Oh boy. Yeah, that she can't finish it after that. That was a really bad landing.
Whether you did, you know, here's the odd thing. Normally, right now, you know, it's a competition.
Absolutely.
And they don't know. So the top 2 are locked. Simone Biles, Suni Lee, as we send it over to Andrea.
Well, Terry, at the end of the day, an incredible accomplishment, a second consecutive Olympic team. Simone, a standing ovation. The crowd went wild for you at the end of this competition. What were your emotions when it all ended?
I feel like I've been emotional this whole week. I just can't believe Olympic trials is here again. I can't believe I'm here again. The journey has been so real. 5 years later, and we're doing it again.
You have spoiled the world with year after year after year, jaw-dropping, spectacular gymnastics. We know you weren't happy after that beam. What were your thoughts?
I was just really upset. Everybody out here came, gave their heart, and I just didn't give my best performance, so that was what I was most upset about.
So we're going to switch gears and move forward now.
Yes.
In 2016, you were just a teenager, and everybody joked about how Allie Raceman was the grandma of the team. You are the leader now. What does that mean to you?
I am. I'm old. I feel like I have a lot of wisdom. I can guide them through the meets. I've been here before, so I just want to keep everybody cool, calm, and collected.
All right. Well, congratulations. And Suni, we know that these past couple of years have not been easy for you. What does this mean to you to be able to be called an Olympian?
This means so much to me. I've worked so hard for the past couple of years, and to just go out on the floor and do everything that I was supposed to do feels amazing.
Your whole family drove out here 8 hours from Minnesota, including your dad. How much has he inspired you?
He's inspired me so much. Whenever I look at him, I just kind of like make myself do better, I guess. He motivates me a lot, and to be here with him means a lot to me and all of our family.
So you had said that this year, though, that it was very difficult to fight off the negative thoughts and the sadness. What was it that powered you through?
I think just thinking about this moment right here, making the Olympic team at the Olympic trials, and then just, of course, thinking of my dad because he's done so much for me. I want to give back.
All right, well, congratulations to you both, and we'll sit on pins and needles as we await the announcement of the rest of the team. Terry?
Thank you.
All right, congratulations to both of them and the families here watching. So special. And John has certainly gone through a lot. And the whole
athletes train their whole lives for the chance to compete in the Olympic Games. It is a dream, a hard-fought fight, the hope of many, but the reality of few. For these athletes, the road to Tokyo starts now. Here to present for the first time your women's artistic gymnastics Olympic team for Tokyo 2020. Please welcome a legendary member of Team USA, a two-time Olympian with 7 Olympic medals, 2 of them gold, a 2-time world all-around champion, and USA Gymnastics Hall of Famer. Please join us in welcoming Team USA's most decorated Olympic gymnast, Shannon Miller.
Please welcome the 4 members of the 2020 Tokyo Olympic team. Simone Biles. Sunisa Lee. Jordan Childs. Grace Mccallum. Representing Team USA in the additional National Organizing Committee quota place, please welcome Michaela Skinner. Representing Team USA in the additional nominative quota place earned through the Individual Event World Cup Series, pending FIG confirmation, please welcome Jade Carey. Please congratulate the replacement athletes who will travel with Team USA to Tokyo. Kayla Dicello, Aker, Leanne
Ladies and gentlemen, let's hear it for your women's gymnastics Team USA! Joining these Team USA women's artistic gymnasts now, please welcome back the men of Team USA for artistic gymnastics. Your Team USA for rhythmic gymnastics. And your Team USA for trampoline. Your Tokyo 2020 Olympic gymnast for Team USA.
Now, Simone Biles, Suni Lee, Jordan Childs, those were the names throughout the 2 nights. You said, okay, pretty much locks. It's Grace Mccallum who will take that 4th team spot. Jade Carey had a spot already wrapped up. It's her own spot. And then Michaela Skinner is the other individual spot. I'll start with you, Nastia. Get your reaction to this. I know it's an emotional moment right now.
I'm not sure if I have too many reactions besides the emotion. I mean, just looking at this right here, seeing this combined Team USA going to the Olympic Games after everything that they have faced throughout this last year. And, you know, I think maybe there have been some surprises, but at the end of the day, everybody has so much to be proud of. Tim, you mentioned, we've mentioned this all weekend long. They are the best country in the entire world, the most dominant, and it is just so incredible to see those faces out on that floor.
Tim, it was that